1, 2, 3, let's go.
Wednesday afternoon, hoping you will tune into our show. It's
an immediate bias straight away. I'm thinking, right, so if that's that person's wife, you know, and I'm good friends with that person, I would try my best to not have a negative impression of them, because I know that whatever impression that I have of them would obviously affect the friendship with my friend that I already know. And as such, I would be trying really hard to see the positive, only the positives in that person that I'm just meeting. Now, if it were the other way around, I've met somebody I've met somebody that I don't really get along with, and then I meet their wives, then automatically, and I'm sorry to say, but automatically, I subconsciously seem to pass on that same impression that I have of that person whom I don't really get along with. I think, well, that's his wife, you know. Dear me, I wonder what she's like. I'm thinking out loud here. It doesn't necessarily mean that it'll go that way. And so, but then, so there's three instances. I think there's three instances that I've mentioned. So one is somebody that you're meeting, you have no prior connections with. And then one is one that you have a connection with, but then it's a positive impression that you have of the person that is obviously they're friends with, or having a relationship with. And then the other one is somebody that, you know, you don't actually know, you don't actually get along with, you've never got along with them, but you seem to manage to cohabit in the same space, whether it be virtually or in person. And so, but if I'm meeting somebody that I've never met before, and it's somebody that I'm just meeting, it would then depend on the context of the meeting. I don't know if that comes across clearly. So say for instance, I'm meeting somebody and I know that I would only have short interactions with them. So I know that I would see that person once a week at least, and I'll probably see them for maybe 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, and as such, I wouldn't bother about the impression. Whatever impression I have about them, I wouldn't really take it on board, because I know you know, obviously I'm not going to be seeing much of them, so it wouldn't really bother me. I just, if it's a positive impression, it would still be like, well, you know, it's just a short meet. If it's a negative impression, I then try not to share with them, if that makes sense. I would try not to share anything with them. I would just keep it on a cordial basis, where, you know, hello, how are you? Oh, have you had a nice week? It's been all right. You know, I wouldn't go into details about the sort of week that I've had. So, but if it's somebody that I know I'm going to be seeing perhaps more often, so if I know I'm going to be seeing somebody more often, then I tend to want to know the sort of person that they are, because then, you know, I'm going to have to be spending more time that I would usually want to spend with people, and as such, I would still be cautious about so the first impression, if it's a negative first impression, then it sort of makes me a bit reclusive, if that's the word. You know, I'll tend to keep things to myself and just, you know, but if it's a positive impression, I just want to talk with them, share things with them, and, you know, try to get along with them, because I'm sensing this person is a nice person, you know, and so I'm judgmental, and I think a lot of us are, where with first impressions.
the leader of our gang will make the show go with a bang, and fund the aim of everything cast us, and fund the aim
them and, you know, try to get along with them, because I'm sensing this person is a nice person, you know. And so I'm judgmental, and I think a lot of us are, where with first impressions, especially if somebody's dressed in a certain way. If they're dressed in a certain way, like I have a friend, and he's a male, and I know his wife, and I knew his wife before I knew him, and he's my friend now, because you know, and he has 2 earrings on, so he has a massive one on his ears, and he have another one just cutting across his ears, and he has another ring just right there, and the first impression was like, what sort of man wears an earring? But the more I got to know him, the more I kind of liked his personality. It was easygoing, you know. But you know, it's first impression. The first impression when I first saw him was like, you know, and he's quite a big fella, about 6 foot something, and he quite bulky, you know. And I thought, oh, I wouldn't want to mess with him, but you know, but it was quite. That's what I thought anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. What I think you almost you froze there. Yeah, now that's some good stuff. In fact, I probably would say you've wiped out just about everything I was going to say.
All right.
You've covered a lot of good stuff there, if I may say. And I think that very relevant to talk about someone we know, and then you meet their partner. Yeah. And there's a bias there. You know, you're going to, if you like the person, obviously if it's a friend of yours and you meet their partner, then you are going to make some assumptions, of course, that they're likely to be a partner of someone who is of similar ilk, you know, similar niceness or whatever. But I think it's more, what I think of first impressions is more to do with that immediate impression, because we do form, maybe we don't always realize it, but you covered the point when you said you met this guy and he had 2 earrings and a piercing through his eyebrow or whatever, and it gave you, because it's visual, it gave you a very much a certain impression of that person. And it's interesting how that happens, isn't it? If you see, perhaps not so much nowadays, but if it used to be the case perhaps a few years ago, that if you saw someone covered in tattoos, for example, especially on their face or whatever, that certainly gives an impression. I don't really want to say a negative impression, because it's so commonplace now that not so much on the face, but a lot of people have tattoos, and some of them a lot of tattoos, and I think it's probably silly to make a judgment in any way on that as an impression. But what I'm saying is, the visuals you got with those earrings and piercings gave you a certain impression, which subsequently would
make the show go with a bang, and fun the aim of everything cast us, and fun the aim